Okay, sorry this took forever because I had to get to the clearer points and it's a long second part. So, you might want to grab a drink, grab a snack, get comfortable, and we're going to dive into the second part of Dear Reader. Okay, so they talk about what they plan to do for the new members of the DBs, and Ashley is not supposed to be one of them, but over the time with all the other ones agreeing that she will be, Nate ends up taking her, and he's, of course, in the full DB, like robe and face mask, whatever. Now, when he gets her, he takes her, he actually puts a gag in her mouth, which none of the other initiates have, and he ties her hands up and, of course, has the bag on her head. Well, he's more rougher with her than, well, anybody else is. So when she gets pulled out of the truck where he gets her to, and she knows it's him, but he just tells her to shut up and let's go because he's not happy that with this initiation with her being part of it. Now she falls and scrapes up her knees. And when they get up to this cliff where they actually, or this peak where they actually are doing this initiation, and there's like a whole row of them, of course. So she's not the only one, excuse me, that is, getting initiated into this society. Now they tell them if you really want to be in this society, you have to jump, which they make them believe they're jumping off of a cliff with all these like jagged edges and all this other stuff, that goes along with it. But it's really not. It's like they just jump and they land on grass, but it's just made them to believe that that's really what they want. Now they do have an out. They do explain to them that if they do not want to be a part of this, they can back out, walk away, and go back to bed, act like nothing ever happened. Well, Ashley intends to do that. She intends to just leave and act like, nope, I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with this. So she wants to leave. Now, somebody kicks her from behind and makes her fall forward, so they all assume that she jumped and that she wanted to be a part of this. Well, when they are all excited, everything's done, and now it's time to party pretty much. And she keeps trying to like talk, but of course she's got this thing in her mouth. And when they figure out that she's bleeding and that she's got a gag in her mouth, they weren't happy about it, especially Heath. And they take the bag off of her head and they get the gag out of her mouth and untie her. And she's like, I just want to go home. I'm cold. I don't want to be out here. I don't want nothing to do with this. And they were like, well, then why'd you jump? She's trying to tell them, I didn't. Somebody pushed me. And none of them were at that point wanting to listen to her. So then she's like, no, I'm going home. So they refuse to let her go home and they make her go to this party. Well, when they get her to where they have this party at, it's at like a big building on campus. And when they get her there, Heath and Carter decide that they were going to clean her cuts up or whatever. Well, when they get all of her cuts cleaned up and she's like, well, now I'm leaving. I'm cold. I just want to go home. And they were like, well, that's not an option. You have to go to this party because it'll look bad on us if you don't. She's like, well, I didn't want to go to the party and I didn't want to jump. Excuse me. I don't know why I keep yawning. Anyway, in the first place. So they were like, I don't understand. She's like, well, Nate pushed me because she thought that Nate is the one that pushed her into it. And he was like, that's impossible. Why would I push you? I didn't even want you to join this society in the first place. I wanted you to have nothing to do with this. So then they start like, one of them pulls out their phones because they recorded it. Well, eventually they look back and they're like, oh, wait, somebody did push her. But at this point, they all are like, well, it's kind of too late now and you're part of it. Well, Nate's like, well, maybe I can talk to the like head people and be like, well, she didn't do it, and see if I could get her out. But nobody's ever been able to do that before. Once you're in, you're in. So they get later, um, the next day, Ashley goes to get coffee for Carly, and Heath shows up out of the blue and starts giving her crap like usual, saying that, like, they should just play along and act like they're together because rumors would stop, and it would look better on her if they were actually dating. So they're going to start fake dating, kind of. Well, what she doesn't know is it's not really fake dating for Heath, because he really does like her. At first, it's not mutual for Carly. Yeah, she has, or for Ashley, she does have a crush on him, but it's not that deep yet, you know? So they kind of just do whatever. Now, like every morning, she takes a shower. So the whole weekend goes by, you know, with he showing up out of the blue and following her and all kinds of stuff. And so Sunday morning, when she wakes up, she goes to take her shower. Well, when she goes back to her room, she finds Nate, her stepbrother, in her room. Well, she's not happy about that because Nate likes to do things to her and go through her things and all this kind of stuff. So when Nate gets back to her, or when she finds him there, she's like telling him to get out and that he doesn't need to be there, and that you know, she knew that he caused all of this in the first place, and so she just wanted him to leave because anytime that he shows up, more problems arise for her. Well, when he finally does leave and he agrees to leave, she starts looking for the book. You know, the book that I told you in the first one, where it was like telling her about the DBs in the first place, and telling her that if this and this started to happen, that she needed to get out because it was dangerous and all this kind of stuff. Well, she can't find this book. Then she's like, oh, wait, I hid it. Well, where she thought she hid it, it was still gone. So that turned out to be a fluke. So she starts like tearing her room apart and going crazy trying to find this book. Well, when she still can't find it, she messages Nate and she's like, give it back. I know you took it. You're the only one that's been in my room, and I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. And Nate's like, clearly, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't take nothing from you. There's nothing that I want. And she like is going off on him. He's like ignoring her. Finally, they're talking. He calls her on the phone asking her what kind of crap she's talking. And then finally, when they realize that he really didn't have nothing to do with it, Nate hangs up on her. Now, that night, or the next day, Heath and her like at this library. Well, then Heath leaves, and Nate ends up staying there and talking. You know, trying to ask all kinds of stuff and what's going on, and uh. Okay, so then Carter shows up out of the blue. And Carter never really has talked to her for a while. Well, when Carter shows up, he tells her that there's this this gala that the DBs are throwing and that she has to go. Well, she's like, I don't want to go and I have nothing to do with it. And he's like, well, too bad, you're my date, and so you're going to go to the gala with me. Well, when they go to this gala, she has nothing to wear. And Carter's like, well, don't worry about it. I've got the perfect, I will send you something to your room where it's going to be like the perfect outfit for you. So she gets back to her room later that evening, and there's this gown and these shoes with the gloves and like this whole like assortment of this dress and his Carter's favorite color. And I mean, she looks to the nine, to the T, dressed to the T. And it's in one of the most expensive gowns she's ever seen in her life. She doesn't know it, but it's like worth thousands and thousands of dollars, along with the whole outfit. Well, Carter was right on time and showed up at like the specific time that he told her to be ready. And they end up going to this gala. Well, when she gets there, to her surprise, Nate's there. And of course, he's PO'd because of the fact that Nate didn't want her there. Nate didn't know that she was coming. They all had specific dates that they were supposed to bring. And Carter kind of went behind Nate's back as well as Heath's back and invited her. Now, when Heath saw this, Heath was furious. Heath wanted to punch Carter in the face because of the fact that he didn't bring Ashley, but that was more on him. And he knew it. And when Ashley saw who Heath brought, which was Jade, the one girl that none of them can stand, the one that likes to cause so much crap to Ashley and to Carly, she was furious. So she went ahead and along with it and played along with Carter because of the fact that she was already mad. And she wanted to piss Nate off anyway. Excuse my language. Anyway, so when the night went on and she had to go to the bathroom, and he kept trying to talk to her, and she didn't want to talk to Heath because of the fact that she was so mad that he would do this to her and that he didn't invite her to this thing. And he was like, well, you'll understand later and all this kind of stuff. But at this point, she just didn't care. She was like, I'm done with it all. I'm done with y'all, whatever. So she goes to find the restroom, like I said, because she had to go to the bathroom. Well, when she gets into the bathroom, she gets stuck in there because this guy, and she thought she heard somebody like talking or whatever. Well, when she comes out of the bathroom, she finds, oh my gosh, my brain just functioned. Anyway, she finds Royce sneaking out of a room, all disheveled like he had just, and when he did, I mean, he did obviously, but it was with who she wasn't expecting. Royce slept with Nate's girlfriend, Paige. And when she seen that, Nate come around the corner because Paige had already taken off. And Royce tried to make Nate believe that it was him and her sleeping together. Well, of course, that makes Nate start calling Ashley more names because now he believes that she's been with all three of his friends. And in reality, she hadn't even been with any of them yet. And so he starts calling her names, and then she's like, Royce, you too, for real? Like, you're going to allow him to believe something that's not true? And he was like, well, it was better than him finding out the truth. So then Carter finds her because the ball is starting to wrap up. Well, the whole point in him taking her was to throw his friends off their game, because now Nate's going to be mad because she was there. Nate, Heath's going to be mad because of the fact that he brought her and he didn't get to. And then third, Royce is going to be mad because he doesn't even realize that he has a crush on Ashley yet. He's trying to play it off as, oh, it's nothing. But later on, you'll find out the truth. Now, there's this game where whoever you bring to this gala is your date and also your team partner. They each get these like little ducks, and they have them in like different colors. Each team has like a red set or a blue set or green set, yada, yada, yada. Well, they get these sets. And they have to hide in this house while the house is being closed up, locked, secured, whatever. And then, like, the more risking yourself, you have to take these ducks and put them on, like, in the safe or and take a picture, or like on, where you could get caught but not get caught. And the more risk you take, the higher chance you are to win. Well, the winner gets to go to Paris, all paid expenses for the weekend. And so it's a high stake. So Carter and Ashley get stuck, though, in the sauna while this old couple and his swing whatever get down and dirty. Well, it takes a while for them to finally pass out. So Ashley takes one of the ducks of their color and puts it on this old guy's butt, which is kind of funny, I think, and takes a picture. Well, then Carter decides to take this other duck and put it in a bra that Nate bought his girlfriend. Or no. He actually has 3 ducks because he actually had an extra one, I think. But he ended up taking this picture of something put in the bra that would prove that Nate's girlfriend was cheating on him. But he saved that for later. So then their second duck ended up going for like... It was they had to let down a chandelier and put the duck up there. And then when somebody else came, they lifted her up on top of the chandelier and waited for them to leave. And then finally she jumped down and they got off. Well, long story short, they end up winning that part of the challenge. Now they don't know that yet. Well, when they come out of this house, there's a car waiting, but there's this whole lot of commotion that's happening as well. They don't know what's going on. All they know is that something's not right, and they later find out that following morning that one of the players that was a new initiate into this DBs had gotten beat up so bad that he got put into a coma. Well, the other one said, well, there were some DBs there, but they weren't even supposed to be there. So we don't even understand why they were there in the first place. Well, come to find out, that was also part of like something that was in the book that she was reading. So she started kind of thinking, oh, well, that's a coincidence, but maybe it's not, nothing specific. Okay, so we're going to stop there because this video is actually really long. And then I'm going to pick up here in a second with a third part.